Hey there, welcome to this tutorial episode. I want to show you how you can manually calculate the BPM and the bar length of a sample. This applies to most samplers. I'm doing it here inside of this tutorial playlist because as we move into the next episode where we take a look at time stretching, our BPM sync, warping, that type of stuff, it's going to be useful information. And I think all beat makers, even if you're at the beginning of your journey, should know these couple of little techniques. Although you've got tools on the MPC where it'll kind of calculate the BPM for you, ultimately, I do think it's good practice to be able to work it out for yourself when you need to. That might be because you've pinched something from a piece of vinyl, whatever it happens to be. Sometimes the MPC just isn't accurate. It will just calculate the BPM, but it will be wrong, and you need to know how to fix it. So follow along with me here. I do highly recommend getting this down. If you're a seasoned user, you already know how to do this. You can skip to the next episode, but I just want to show the beginners how to get started. We need something like a sample that we found where we don't have any information. So we're going to go to load, side of this folder, some Beat Butcher drums, chosen because most sample packs, it will give you the BPM and the bar length. It'll usually be in the title. With the Beat Butcher, he doesn't, so it's just like finding a sample. We need to try and work it out for ourselves. If I scroll down one, I'm going to use this one here called 80s Inspired Drums. That's the only thing it tells me. No bar length, no BPM. I like the way they sound though. I'm going to load those to the first pad. If we go into our drum track, we've loaded it up. You can just go straight into the sample pool, and we're actually going to start by looking at the MPC's way of handling things so that as we do it manually, we can kind of just compare, see where we're at. So if we go to sample edit, you will notice you might have to choose if you've got multiple samples in the project, you might have to select the right one. This is our drums. It's the only thing here. At the bottom, it tells us what it's calculated the BPM to be. 79 BPM. Couple of things here. If it just gets it completely wrong, then if we open up this menu, you can input a value to whatever you like. So let's say you knew what the BPM was. Let's say it was a 90 BPM break, but for some reason it's telling you it's 79. It's completely off. I could come in and I could just change that value. Most of the time though, what it does is it gives you sometimes like a half-time, double-time issue. So 79 sounds about right. That's about the speed that I would expect for that drum break. You get used to these things over time with your ear and just kind of developing. It's not like I can guess exactly what a BPM is, but I can get a good ballpark figure. But sometimes what you'll see is something like this, where if we use our half-time or double-time, you might see 158. It does that a lot for drum breaks and other samples. And you might come in and you'd be looking at that and you think, actually, that's not 158 BPM. That would be pretty fast paced. Typically, that's what it is. It's like a half-time, double-time thing. So you know that you can come in here and you can change it here as well. But I wanted to show you that so that you know how to access where the BPM is, of course, and change it. But also so that as we're playing around with it, we get an idea of manually adjusting things, how close we're getting there. So we think it's approximately 79 BPM. I'm going to make the sequence deliberately too fast. I'm going to make it 100 BPM. I definitely know just from ear listening to that drum break, we're nowhere near 100 BPM, but we're going to set it like that. We want to calculate the bar length first. I want to know how long so that I know how many bits or how many bars to put into my sequence. So I think from listening to it very quickly, it probably is a 2-bar loop. In order to do that for beginners, this is really, really simple. All we do is we count 1, 2, 3, 4. It does change slightly when you get into different time signatures, but for the most part, when you're dealing with stuff, most music is typically 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got 4 beats to every bar. In order to work it out, we're going to play back the sample and just count roughly in time with whatever the sample is. And I'm going to see how many times I count over. A tip here is it depends on your preference, right? For me, I like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I just work out how many times I repeated that to tell me how many bars there were. Some people prefer to switch it, so they might do this thing where they do 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3. To me, that gets confusing. I don't like it that way. There's another way, 1, 2, 3, 4, is you get to your second bar. If the sample's longer, you do 5, 6, 7, 8. It's up to you. Whatever makes sense in your head, you can work around with it. That's what I would do, though. I like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's do it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Stops. So we know it's a 2-bar loop. That's what we've got going on. So I can leave the sequence at 2 bars. And even though we know this tempo is completely way off, I'm going to record that into the sequence anyway. Now, why have I done that? Well, we're talking about a sample where we didn't look at sample edit. We don't know what the BPM is. We haven't looked at what the MPC thinks it is. We're trying to work this out for ourselves. When you're dealing with something like this and it's looped up inside of the sequence, that's all you really need to do. There's two techniques here that are kind of the same, just slight variant. So what we're going to do, we're going to take that 100 BPM, and we already know just from ear it's too fast. The reason I know that is because as I'm playing through the sample, it doesn't let me finish like playing all of the 2 bars. It cuts it off and it jumps back to the beginning to try and loop it because the tempo of the project, the sequence, it's just way too fast. The other problem that you get, well, let's quickly listen to it being too fast again. And you can even see it from the playhead on the sample. When it's getting along here, it's not even getting to the end of the 2 bars before it bounces back, so it's too fast. We get the same thing when we move it all the way down, and it's too slow. We know it's definitely not 56 BPM, but let's play it like that. So we get these big gaps. So when I'm doing this manually, that's what I'm listening for. If it cuts off the end of my sample, it's too quick. If there's a big gap, it's too slow. Really, really simple. The first technique would be to just adjust it by small increments or, a single BPM here and there. So I could start up at my 100 where we were before, and I know that's way too fast, so maybe I drop it down to 90 and I play it again. Maybe I drop it to 80 and I play it again until it gets close. The other technique is to use tap tempo, very common, and my go-to method. I still use this sometimes, just tweaking a BPM here and there. I'll still even use it with tap tempo because tap tempo will get you into the right ballpark, but it's not deadly accurate. Usually it gives you a point value. Now, point values are important to mention when you're working out samples because for something from a drum pack, a sample pack, whatever it's going to be, chances are whoever created it will have made it an exact tempo. But when it comes to things like an old vinyl sample, an old drum break or something, that might not be because it's going to be a real live drummer. It was never designed to be a loop or looped up in that sense. So you may find it is 80.3 or 80.4 or something like that. We use shift in order to fine tune and get our increments there when you're messing around with the tempo. But if you need to, that's where it comes into play. So it is just a case of taking your time and trying to work it out. We know, going back to sample edit, that we think it's 79 BPM. We're going to now use tap tempo. And again, I'm going to set this at some other random number, 121, just so that you can see the tap tempo button. With the tap tempo button, inside of your preferences, you can specify how many taps of this button before it tries to calculate the BPM. I think by default it's set to 2. So whatever the speed is that I tap this button, if I tap it twice, it calculates a BPM, and it just keeps doing that for every 2 hits of the button. I have mine set up, because you can change it in the preferences, to 4 taps of the button before it calculates the BPM, because to me it makes more sense. Typically I'm working with 1, 2, 3, 4 per bar, so I like the 4 taps as it moves around. A good technique for this, if you've got something and it's just looped up, or an easy way to loop it up, you can do it inside of the sequence if you want, but if you just went straight into sample edit, I can use this pad on the top right to loop the playback of the sample. That's just going to keep looping around. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to set this thing off to loop, and I'm going to be doing my 1, 2, 3, 4, which we know now is for like 2 bars, but you can do it for as long as you want. And typically I might let it play through, then begin. And I usually do it for maybe like 8 beats, just so that I've got a really good feeling for the timing of the sample. But that's what we're going to do. We're just going to let that play as we tap tempo. You'll notice as well, my tap tempo button isn't flashing. If yours is, it's just a preference thing. You can turn it off if you don't want it flashing. So let's start that. Now you can do it if you just want to time it here, or you can let it play first. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I did it a few times, as I said, just to get the feeling, the timing of the sample. Let's go to main, where we'd set it to 120 something BPM. It's now brought it down to 79.58, so it's pretty close, because we do think that this is a 79 BPM drum loop. Let's play our loop now and see how it fares with 79.58. And you can hear that it is just slightly off. So again, I know that there's no gap. It's probably a little bit fast. So shift, I would take this down to 79, the whole number. And there we go. We've got it looped up perfectly. So 2 very simple techniques, but things that I think are essential for new beginners to learn. Spend a little time with this. Bring in a bunch of loops. Don't cheat. Don't look at the BPM and just try and work it out for yourself, because I promise you, in the long run, when you're messing around with samples, that type of stuff, it's really going to help you out. I'll see you guys in the next episode where we'll take a look at all of our time stretching options, stuff like that. See you there. Take care.